Hey, welcome to this very breaking Saturday edition of Real Take Sports or Real Take Wrestle Talk. Got some big news. WWE have released Bray Wyatt. Yeah, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, whatever you want to call him, the Eater of Worlds, gone from WWE, released from his contract today in a statement from WWE. It's very short, much like many we've seen from the past. WWE have come to terms on a release with Bray Wyatt. We wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Bray Wyatt, of all people, got future endeavor today, Saturday, July 31st. Didn't even wait till August. It's done. This is according to multiple sources. Even before this, Fightful and Wrestling Observer also caught wind of this as well. But it was WWE who also broke the news. So for any WWE fans, any WWE marks out there who might believe that, oh, this is just rumor and innuendo, it is not. It is true. Bray Wyatt is gone from WWE. And it seems to be that this might be a little bit of a cost-cutting move, as well as also just a move that makes sense for both parties. We know that Alexa Bliss has come around and basically done the whole Fiend gimmick for herself. She's the Alexa's Playhouse, whatever that gimmick is. She's doing that, and a lot of those elements were the Fiend's gimmick, and now those are hers. So she's the mystical, whatever evil devil that runs Raw, and we have not seen Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, even since the night after WrestleMania. He came out, he lost to Randy Orton at WrestleMania. He came out the next night, and he cut a Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse promo where he basically said, oh, we'll see each other again, and unfortunately, that did not happen. So Bray Wyatt, again, gone from WWE. Welcome, Cincy. And Cincy in the chat says, Bray Wyatt under a new name is hashtag All Elite is going to be a thing soon. You know, that is an interesting statement, because that's under the assumption, that's if you're under the assumption that Bray Wyatt still wants to wrestle. Because getting released here, I think it gives him a few more options. And I'll get into those options specifically in a minute, but anyone just joining us, Bray Wyatt released from WWE after 12 years, according to multiple sources, and confirmed by WWE today. And I'll get to a minute on reaction, what I think might happen later, but I just kind of want to talk a little bit about Bray Wyatt's career, because Bray Wyatt's career for the longest time, his WWE run will be remembered as one of push and pull. He gets pushed, and then they pull back. That's what his entire career in WWE has been. He comes out originally as part of the Nexus and the Husky Harris. That gimmick was the whole Nexus gimmick was kind of dying then. But he comes back and he does the Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family gimmick. The Wyatt family gimmick. He did a lot of great things there. It was one of the most over things. Them and the Shield had one of the best matches, like 3-on-3 matches I've ever seen at Elimination Chamber 2014. They went out there, they tore the house down, and they were an overact. Everyone expected him going into WrestleMania 30 to beat John Cena, that this was a new era, that he was going to be one of these people of this new era. And what ended up happening was he lost. And this was a thing that kept on happening. The Wyatt family gains momentum. They break them up. Bray Wyatt gains momentum, gets himself into a feud with John Cena. The Undertaker loses. He just lost too many times for people to care. Then he went on and did his thing with Matt Hardy. The Wyatt family got back together. It was fledgling for a while. 2017 comes around. In Elimination Chamber 2017, what happens? Bray Wyatt pins John Cena, pins AJ Styles in an Elimination Chamber, and wins the WWE Championship. He's over. It worked. He was a WWE champion, and a month later, he lost in a stinker of a match at WrestleMania to Randy Orton. And Randy Orton didn't get over for it. Bray Wyatt didn't get over for it. It was almost like it was nothing. Fast forward a little bit more. Bray Wyatt in 2018, that's when I think he ended up teaming up with Matt Hardy and all that. So that happened. It didn't really lead to anywhere. And then we got The Fiend. The Fiend was one of the most ingenious, thought out, and honestly, in today's era especially, legitimately horrifying things that you could probably put on WWE TV. It wasn't just the fact that he came out in the mask. The mind games the Fiend played were amazing. The mind games the Fiend played were amazing. The Firefly Funhouse was amazing. The Firefly Funhouse match was one of, if not the best cinematic match in wrestling history. And it was over. And every time he got a little bit of momentum, wins the Universal Championship, jobs to Goldberg. Wins the Universal Championship again, loses to Roman Reigns. And then goes off and does a random feud with Randy Orton. And then they couldn't even do that right. They set him on fire. He returns to WrestleMania. And then Alexa Bliss steals his shine. Which, I don't hate Alexa Bliss. I'm not hating on Alexa Bliss. She's an amazing performer. But it's been this constant push and pull for 12 years. Push and pull. And you see the talent that this guy has. You see the momentum that he always has. You see the desire, the creativity of Wyndham here, of Bray Wyatt. And every single time he tries to do anything, it's hindered and he's just stopped. And it's sad. It's sad. Again, those of you just joining us, Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. The Fiend, released from WWE after 12 years. WWE released a statement. Basically, they future endeavored him. WWE has come to terms on a release of Bray Wyatt. We wish him all the best in his future endeavors, a.k.a. see you later. Budget cuts. Thank you, Nick Khan. So there's a lot of talk, and I know, Cincy, you just mentioned something in the chat about this, of where he might go. Cincy says, quote, I think he was good friends with John Huber. He was good with friends with John Huber, a.k.a. Luke Harper. So he has some personal issues. After that, who knows if he'll wrestle again. It's true. There are personal issues going on there. There's, we know, creative frustration. We know Bray Wyatt right now is in some of the best shape of his life. Yes, Bray Wyatt is done. Bray Wyatt is done. Here, I'll actually do this. If for those of you who might not believe my words, we'll take it to the tweet from WWE themselves. Right here. It says right here, WWE has come to terms on a release with Bray Wyatt. So Bray Wyatt, done with WWE. It's over. We'll actually go through some of these because I do think some of these might provide some insight. Alex McCarthy, Porter says, WWE has officially announced release that Bray Wyatt has been released from his contract. What could have been? What could have been? Here we go. The man of every hour in wrestling journalism, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, says WWE screwed up four different Bray Wyatt reinventions. That probably isn't the best place for him. And if he wants to continue wrestling, he'll have infinite opportunities. Now, that is true. That is 100% true, because if you don't see the creativeness, if you don't see if you don't see what this guy can do, I don't understand what you're doing in the wrestling business. Anything he did was money. Any gimmick he came up with himself was money. But then WWE had to do this thing where they just get their paws in. They just dig their claws in and they get their hands all over it and they make it shit. And that's what they did with The Fiend. That's what they did with the Wyatt family. That's what they did with the Nexus. That's what they've done his entire career with any gimmick he's ever had. They did that with the Eater of Worlds, and it's all manifested to this point where the most creative thing that WWE might have done in the past decade, this guy, or The Fiend, and the Firefly Funhouse, and the Firefly Funhouse match, all that stuff pissed away for nothing. For nothing. It's absolutely blasphemous. It's absolutely, it shows you how little WWE genuinely cares about pro wrestling and entertaining the fans who actually pay for their product. They don't care. They don't care, and they never did, and that's the damn truth. Let's go through some of these chat questions. Here we go. Oh, wait, man, really? Yes, really? Bray Wyatt released from WWE. I know if he goes to AEW, they'll let him really get creative. Yeah, they will. Yeah, if he goes to AEW, if he goes to MLW, he goes anywhere else, they will let him run his own show because he's that damn good. He came up with the entire Fiend gimmick by himself, by the way. It was basically him who just came up with it, came up with the mask design, came up with the backstory, everything. So could I see him going to AEW? Absolutely. That's a possibility. I could also see him not going back to wrestling because for multiple reasons. One, I think he's been burned a lot. One of the reasons I think it's possible that Bray Wyatt might never go back to wrestling or might not immediately is because he's been burned a lot. He's going through personal issues that we know. And also, the dude is a creative mastermind, and he proved it with this gimmick. He proved it with everything he put into it. He's a great actor. I genuinely think Bray Wyatt could go in and do some genuinely good acting somewhere. He could go. I'm not saying like, oh, he'll be The Rock or a big blockbuster draw. Could be, anyone could be, but he has that element in him that I think would make him good actor. When he speaks, you listen. And it's not just because he's good at cutting a wrestling promo. This guy is genuinely good at captivating people's attention. So is it possible that he never goes back to wrestling again? Absolutely, it is possible that he never wrestles again. It's also possible that he might just go in and not do wrestling for a while and then come back later. But, man, WWE, you dropped the ball big time on this one. Because, look, we've seen so many people get released in the past few months. We've seen Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, Malachi Black, all of these people get released. And I said that Braun Strowman, before I said Braun Strowman was the most heinous of all of these releases. No. This right here is the worst. This is, if you want any proof that WWE does not know what to do with talented people, look no further than the news from today. Look no further than this person right here to my right, I believe. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, whatever you want to call him. It is absolutely asinine. Like, and again, I believe he could go do movies. I believe he could go do movies. He's so creative, he could go do a lot of things outside of wrestling, says since he edits. Of course he could. Davidson in the chat says, I heard WWE is quietly going to release more. Yeah, that is also the word. Dave Meltzer also did say that. Give me a second while I pull that up. But yeah, so apparently there are more releases coming in the pipe. That is apparently what is happening. So looks like it's going to be another one of Nick Khan's Cut Everybody Day, which is sad. Like, yep. So here we go. I'll so you guys can see this. I'll pull this up very quickly. Dave Meltzer right here. WWE confirms Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt, released today. More to come. That is not a good sign. I hate to hear that. More to come means more wrestlers are likely going to be released. And, of course, and Cincy, you just said in the chat, they're going to call it budget cuts. Yep, they're going to call it budget cuts. They're going to call this budget cuts, and then they're going to say, oh, well, in order to make a profit, we got to cut all these people. You know what? And you know what? What gets me about this? Vince McMahon was on an investor call. I believe, yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and I caught like a little clip of it where he said that that AEW is not competition for them. And that, hey, maybe they can give AEW some more talent. Kind of hinting towards the fact that AEW are picking up some WWE release talent. And look, maybe Vince wasn't lying. Maybe he was being serious. He was all in. He was like, yeah, I'm just going to give them Bray Wyatt. I'm going to give the independent wrestling scene Bray Wyatt. David Davidson in the chat says, I predict Keith Lee and Mia Yim. It's possible. It is very possible. I'm not sure about Mia Yim, but, that one, Mia Yim, could happen, but Keith Lee, I could see being one of the releases that might come today. I hope not, because I hate to see anyone, even in the wrestling business, even someone as talented as Keith Lee, who will land on his feet, lose their job. I don't want that for anyone, but Keith Lee could be another name. You know why? Because he's been embroiled in a little bit of a legal controversy with WWE over his own name, so that might be a big reason to just cut ties with him. He also has been going through some health issues. I don't know what the latest is on that specifically, but Could Keith Lee? I think he possibly could be. We've seen people who have appeared on Raw, appeared on SmackDown, and then like just a day or two later get released. It's possible. Mia Yim, I think that's less likely, but who knows at this point? Who really knows what's going to happen? Yeah, it's a crapshoot at this point. Cincy Edits in the chat says, I was pretty much done with WWE after they took the Roman Reigns match from Balor. Now I'm done with WWE. I'm just watching AEW and other promotions from now on. More power to you. More power to you. I mean, that's the best thing about like the wrestling industry right now. There's so much to watch, and there's so much product out there that you'll find something that fits what you like. You'll find something that entertains you. For some people, that's WWE. That's fine. Look, there's parts of WWE that even I like, but this is just scumminess. Scummy. It's asinine. You have 5 different brands. 5 different brands, right? And you're telling me you couldn't find anything else for Bray Wyatt to do or anywhere else for Bray Wyatt to be? Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Like, it's how do you not know what to do with Bray Wyatt? He gave you the gimmicks on a silver platter. He gave you the gimmicks on a silver platter. By the way, I believe Alexa Bliss just tweeted about Bray Wyatt's release, so I will bring that to you guys in just a minute. Just give me 1 second. I have to find it, and I believe this is it right here. Found it. So here we go. Alexa Bliss tweeting here about Bray Wyatt's release. I am really at a loss for words. Thank you so much, Wyndham, for everything you've done for this company. The most fun I've had is working with you. Such an amazing talent and the most kind person. I'm just in shock. And she is not alone. I think a lot of people are shocked by this. And it seems like these releases are getting more and more egregious every single time one of these happens. Every single time we see more people getting released, we see more high-profile people getting released, and it's shame. It's a damn shame. Damn shame. David Davidson in the chat says, and shame on WWE for giving Bray gimmick to Alexa. Yeah. Again, they didn't create it, right? So their whole thing is, let's get our paws on it, and then let's make it into our vision with someone that we actually might want to have the gimmick. Because God forbid if Bray Wyatt does anything good on his own. God forbid that Bray Wyatt, that Wyndham Rotunda does anything creative without the help of WWE writers, without the help of WWE creative, without the help of Vince McMahon. God forbid all of that. God forbid. No, give me a break. Bullshit. And this is no hating on Alexa. Alexa Bliss she is still my favorite performer, female performer there is across any industry, across any company. Like that, I think she's one of the most talented people in wrestling, and I just don't think the gimmick works for her, if I'm being honest with you. I think she's doing her best. It just doesn't work for her. So this is no hating on Alexa Bliss. I love Alexa Bliss. She's awesome. But they shouldn't have given her gimmick away, or his gimmick away. Lucas in the chat says, I would send him to AEW and put him with Darby and Sting. That's an interesting. I actually have a thing I'll get into in a minute about what I think he could do if he decides to go back to wrestling, and if he decides to go to AEW. David Davidson in the chat says, honestly, if these are budget cuts, then why are the shows like 205 Live still going on? That show only gets 100,000 views. It's stupid because 205 Live, they cut the Cruiserweight division in the last round of cuts. They cut nearly the entire Cruiserweight division. Nearly the entire Cruiserweight division was gone in the latest rounds of cuts. What? And why is that show still on? You're telling me you have time to plan a 205 Live, but you don't have time to plan around this gimmick that will sell masks, that will sell merch, that will sell pay-per-views, Peacock subscriptions, whatever you want to sell, he'll sell it. He's got the talent. He's an amazing speaker. He's captivating. He's a character that people actually bid on and wanted to succeed, and you ruined it. You flew him out to Saudi Arabia to job to Goldberg, who's 55 years old, and lose his championship. And why'd you even put the title on him at that point? That's the big question. Why'd you even put the title on him at that point? I'm pissed off, if you can't tell. Since he says they're going to release Alexa, I don't think they're going to release Alexa Bliss. I don't think it's going to happen. Lucas, the GOAT 12 in the chat says, we get Eva and her horrible gimmick, but we lose Bray. Welcome to WWE in 2021. Vince McMahon once said this in a promo. You don't like what you like. You like what I tell you to like. And apparently he wasn't capping. That wasn't a work. It was true. You don't like what you like, fans. You like what he tells you to like. It's a damn shame. Again, anyone just joining us, Bray Wyatt has been released from WWE after 12 years with the company. I will just very quickly show again the statement from WWE. This is from their Twitter and also on their website. WWE have come to terms on a release of Bray Wyatt. Bray Windham. That's not who that is. Bray Wyatt. We wish him the best in his future endeavors. His real name is Wyndham Rotunda, by the way. That's why I said Barry Windham. I made it funny. Anyway, going back to, on a serious note, in all seriousness, it is ridiculous that this was allowed to happen in this way. It's ridiculous that he was set up to fail as much as he was, but it is what it is. David Davidson in the chat says, exactly, it is ridiculous, and to make it worse, they'd rather keep botchers like Dana Brooke, Nia Jax, Eva Marie, and Jackson Riker still employed. Yeah, and Goldberg, don't forget Goldberg. Look, I mean, I think Dana Brooke, personally, I think she's gotten a lot better. Nia Jax is very good, too. Botchers like Eva Marie and Jackson Riker, well, I don't like Jackson Riker for other reasons, but he's not that, he's like, okay worker. He's not like as good as I think he's being pushed, but that is what it is. But yeah, you have all these people that are there that are getting paid money, and then you couldn't find out what to do with this guy who's probably made you or could have made you a lot of money had you actually done anything with him. The biggest thing about Bray Wyatt that baffles me, he wasn't on TV nearly the entirety of 2021. He wasn't on TV. He had 2 appearances, basically. 2 appearances. Sorry. Like 3 or 4 appearances. He came back at Fastlane, came back on the Raw after Fastlane, or to build up to WrestleMania. Then he came back at WrestleMania, came back to Raw. He cut like the Firefly Funhouse segment after WrestleMania. Boom, gone. Now we're here, and he's gone from the company. How does WWE keep doing this? You got to ask yourself. They're going to release more while you're on the stream probably. That is very likely. It is very possible. And I have like everything pulled up here. I've got like my thing refreshing every few minutes here, waiting, unfortunately, waiting to see if other people get fired from their jobs. How stupid is that? I'm questioning myself right now, honestly. Honestly. Anyway, but look, someone asked this question. Again, if you're just joining us, WWE have released Bray Wyatt after 12 years with the company. Someone asked a question earlier. He might go to AEW. And to that, I will say this. I have an interesting scenario that could happen if he ends up going to AEW. And I think that if he goes to AEW, then one of the best things they could do with him is maybe keep the same gimmick of the Fiend. And if you're not going to do the Adam Page storyline, because reports are they're not doing the Adam Page match with Kenny Omega. After his 3-month clause is up, his 90-day no-compete is up, then maybe you have him become the new leader of the Dark Order. And I know, like, John Huber, a.k.a. Brody Lee, was the past leader. They have a little bit of history. That could be something that works a little bit. Have him be the new leader of the Dark Order. Because he's got a dark gimmick, he kind of brings some more seriousness back to the Dark Order. That could be a thing that they could do, and I think it could work. Because it would again, make the Dark Order a little more serious. So that's something they could do, and then you could lead to maybe a match with Hangman Adam Page after the Dark Order turns on him. I don't know. That, like, again, that's just me off the cuff. That again, much better than WWE. Any idea WWE's come up with in the past like few years. Toot my own horn, but toot toot. Since he edits asked what did he tweet? He didn't tweet anything. And again, I'll show you guys just so you can see. Yeah, nothing tweeted here from Bray Wyatt since May. So there's really not much to report on from there as far as him. I'll look up maybe some other reactions. I showed the Alexa Bliss reaction. She basically was in shock. She didn't know it was coming. I don't think anyone knows that these releases are coming. Alexa Bliss was in shock, and she said that she wanted to thank Wyndham for everything he did over the past few years. Yeah. Go look for his tweet, bro. He said, "Brother, I am waiting." Posted him and Bray. Are you sure it's a tweet? Oh, Braun. Oh, okay. Braun tweeted it. Okay. All right, so I'll pull that up real quick. But yeah, no. Again, anyone who doesn't know, Bray Wyatt has been released from WWE. And, okay, so here it is. So Braun Strowman, former tag partner, former Wyatt family member, Bray Wyatt, tweeted out this picture of them saying, "Brother, I'm waiting." And again, it's a little bit of a shot at WWE, but it's also a little disheartening. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit disheartening. Sorry about that. It's a little bit disheartening. Oh my God. Insider scoop right there for you guys. No, but it is very disheartening to see something like that happen. And the fact that people are tweeting like that. He should kidnap negative. No, he should not. No, we're not doing another Dominic. No, we're not. No children will be harmed in the making of any wrestling company. But I do think Bray Wyatt in the Dark Order could be an interesting thing. He would be called something else. We would have to see what the things are for that. But it's sad. It's very sad. Team Bray with Black, run with it. Black. Malachi Black and whatever Bray Wyatt could be known. And again, this is if he goes back to wrestling. There's a high likelihood that he doesn't actually end up going back to wrestling. There's also a likelihood he just ends up doing like acting. Because that's something he's wanted to pursue. He's creative. He's a captivating speaker. He gives off a little bit of a thespian kind of attitude and feel to his entire way of speaking. So I think that's very possible that he could end up going into acting instead of just immediately returning to wrestling. I don't know if that's even just the avenue he can take. He has multiple avenues he can take. But again, we will have to see about that. It's just so weird. Again, I went over everything that he did, right? He did so much to try. If anyone asks you, right, anyone says that Bray Wyatt, if anyone says that Bray Wyatt isn't the main example that there is a glass ceiling in WWE, or that this brass ring thing is a fake. Let me rephrase this entirely. This whole idea that the brass ring is there for people to climb up and take, this whole idea that you can break through this glass ceiling, you can impress management, Bray Wyatt proves that that's complete BS. Because every single time he's done anything, worthwhile that becomes one of the most over things in wrestling, nope, they pull him back down the ladder because they didn't do it. They did it with Zack Ryder. They tried to do it with Daniel Bryan. That was one of the most unpreventable things because the crowd literally turned on the product. I don't know what it is. Maybe they can't help themselves. Maybe that's just it. Maybe they can't help themselves. And actually, Sean Ross Sapp just tweeted something interesting here. This is him. He was responding to a tweet that says, "Wasn't there a rumor that Bray Wyatt taking time off due to Brody Lee's death / not dealing with it? A BS rumor stated by whoever, Billy Butty. I'm confused." Here we go. Sean Ross Sapp kind of cleared up that rumor hole and thing. He says, Bray Wyatt took time off, but I don't know if it was a BS rumor. Putting that out there publicly, whether it's true or not, was a dog shit of Butty to do, though. Yeah, okay, yeah. So again, that was like one of those things. It's a rumor, but we don't know if it's actually 100% true. Let me go to the chat real quick. Team Wyatt, Team Black running it back. Yep. That tells me that the return rumors are BS with Braun. They very well possibly could be. They very well look. There's rumors. There's always going to be rumors swirling around the wrestling industry. There's always going to be rumors swirling around the wrestling industry as long as fans are around, as long as we have, you know, wrestling journalists who don't follow any sort of journalistic ethics or integrity. Sean Ross Sapp is of the utmost, actually. Like, he follows the most wrestling, journalistic integrity. He's like the best. If you want to listen to anyone about wrestling and wrestling insider news, Sean Ross Sapp is the person to go to. Dave Meltzer's also pretty good, but right now Sean Ross Sapp has been on a roll as far as reporting stuff. Cassidy Haynes of BodySlam.net has also been on a little bit of a roll. So people like that you listen to. Other people, I'm very wary of listening to them. I'm very wary because they don't have the same track record as those guys. So Sean Ross Sapp, listen to him. He's very good. He's probably the best person to listen to about any sort of news and insider stuff in wrestling. That's why I listen to him. That's why I quote him and his stuff, because he's reliable. And there are other people, like Sean was saying, this Putty person. I don't think he was saying he's specifically unreliable, but on this specific issue, he shouldn't have put it out there. And that's true. Yeah, it's not great. This is terrible. Let's see. Here we go. So Chelsea Green here, actually. Chelsea Green, also released from WWE just a few months ago now. She tweeted this out. Says, me waiting for Bray Wyatt to come to the dark side. Interesting. Very confused. So she tweeted. Okay, so I assume she got some backlash here. Very confused about why me being supportive of Bray Wyatt does next piss people off. LOL. Oh, Twitter, you never cease to amaze me. But really, though, I can't wait to see what he does next, where he goes, what character he creates next. And now that is, I think, and everyone in the wrestling community is feeling that sentiment. We cannot wait to see what Bray Wyatt does next. It is just going to be very interesting to see where he goes, what he does, and how that kind of all comes together. Cincy in the chat says, y'all remember Ryback in the Nexus? Yeah, I remember Ryback in the Nexus. He still sucked, and he sucked afterwards too. Feed me more, feed me more, feed me more jobbers. Let's continue this because I'm going to look for some more tweets. But again, keep the questions coming, everyone. Please keep the questions coming. Why is she surprised at Twitter being stupid? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, honestly. Twitter is a very toxic place. That's why I only use it to promote stuff like Real Take Wrestle Talk on Tuesdays, by the way. Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. We'll be talking about this and much, much more that's going on in wrestling on Real Take Wrestle Talk Tuesday nights. Subscribe if you haven't already, people. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. But again, big news of the hour, big news with the power. It is Bray Wyatt released from WWE after 12 years. Braun Strowman, we've seen his reaction, basically just saying, I'm waiting for your brother. We've seen other people's reactions. Alexa Bliss thanking Bray Wyatt. Chelsea Green also thanking Bray Wyatt. And it is just, it's stupid, isn't it? It is stupid. Like, I will never get over the fact that they could just release people like this talented, and this intelligent and creative, and somehow still just get away with it. That shows you how big they are, but it also shows you how little they care about wrestling. It's terrible. Going to be talking about a bunch of releases probably. Oh, man, I hope not. I hope I'm not talking about a bunch of releases on Tuesday night on Real Take Wrestle Talk. I truly hope not, but according to some of the news that is coming out, it is very possible. It is very possible that might be the case, because Meltzer tweeted earlier that there are more to come, and usually these things tend to come in batches. That's what Nick Khan and all these people have done. They've been releasing people in batches. And honestly, I think many wrestling fans are getting frustrated, and I'm getting frustrated as a fan with WWE. Here we go. This is actually a good tweet. I'm not sure. Steve Yurko actually tweeted this out. He says, Bray Wyatt is one of the last great characters of the modern wrestling era. Even when it spun its wheels, even when the company booked it into oblivion, He would bounce back with such creativity and charisma. I wish him all the best in the world. Somewhere he won't be stunted. That puts everything I think any wrestling fan believes about Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, that puts it all into one solid phrase, one solid tweet. I genuinely hope that whatever Bray Wyatt does, that wherever he goes, doesn't treat him in any way like WWE has treated him over the past 12 years. Because they took a guy who should have been one of the faces of their company, and they just pushed him down the ladder too many times. And I'm sure he was frustrated by it. I would be. I was definitely frustrated by it as a fan. And it's hard to find people. It's hard to find people who can defend this type of thing. It is terrible. And look, hey, remember when I was saying this? When Vince McMahon was on a call yesterday. He was on a call yesterday, and he was quoted as saying something about AEW and their investment. So let me see if I can actually pull this up. Just give me, I don't know if I can actually pull up the whole thing, but it says here, I'm not sure where their investments are. He's talking about AEW. When it comes to their talent, perhaps we could give them some more. And he was calling out the fact that I guess AEW's taking away some of their talent, or they're releasing them and AEW signing them. That is what I guess he wasn't lying. So that must have been it. Vince must be a huge AEW mark, right? That must be it. That's the only justification. Again, he said that on an investor call yesterday. And again, I'm still refreshing, trying to see if there's any more news on other releases, because there are other releases expected, unfortunately. And you got to think, other than acting, the oh, well, actually, this is a funny one. Hold on, let me just show you guys this. So somebody created this gem right here. Vince McMahon inducted into the AEW Hall of Fame, which, at this point, he might need to be. He genuinely might need to be. Excuse me, but if WWE, like, here's the thing. There's people online who are complaining, right? There's some people who are online complaining right now that, oh, well, maybe Bray Wyatt wanted out. Maybe he didn't want to be there anymore. That's not what I'm mad about, right? I'm not necessarily that angry about WWE and him leaving WWE, right? That's not what I'm at. I'm mad about the fact that it got to this point to begin with. I'm mad about the fact that Bray Wyatt multiple times reinvented himself, had some of the best gimmicks in the industry multiple times in his career, and then got shoved down the ladder, got pushed down, got stifled the entire way. That's what I'm mad about. And the fact that it got to this point, maybe he's frustrated and he asked for a release. Possible. Maybe this is a budget cut thing and they mutually parted ways. That is possible. Maybe they just cut him. Maybe they just cut him. I'm not going to say, one way or another, right? As far as, I know exactly the reason why this is happening. No, but I know the history. I know the creative frustrations. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. I'm not even saying I'm that big of a genius. I'm not even saying I'm a genius. You just have to watch the product and keep up with what's going on, and you know kind of some of the factors that might have led into this decision. But the story isn't really even the release of Bray Wyatt. It is just the downfall of the Bray Wyatt character and WWE's hand in doing that. Bray Wyatt never should have been someone who should have been released by WWE. Point blank. If they couldn't find a way to make money with this guy, then they shouldn't be in the wrestling business. And you know what? Nick Khan likes to say that they are not in the wrestling business. Vince McMahon likes to say that they are not in the wrestling business. They like to say that they are in the sports entertainment business. The entertainment. We make movies, pal. This could have been a blockbuster, Vince. This could have been a blockbuster series. That could have given revenue, millions of dollars of revenue to your company. You refused to do it. You refused to accept it. And here we are. Here we are, July 31st, 2021. Bray Wyatt released from WWE. And a lot of people will say that he might go to AEW. A lot of people will say he might go elsewhere. A lot of people might say he might go do acting. And all of those things, again, are a possibility. I'm going to take probably another few minutes, unless some other news comes up. I think I might be done here, and then, I'll report anything else. I might come out with a video hope not, but if there are other releases, I will probably put out another video either today or tomorrow about it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat here. I'll stay as long as I needed to answer them. That's not an issue. I will also look up some other stuff as well. Liam, wow. What time is it over there? It is 2:12 p.m. Eastern Time on the East Coast of the United States. And Bray Wyatt is no longer with WWE. Hi, Liam, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm in a pretty pissy mood. You can go back and see my first reactions to this news back earlier on this video, by the way, Liam. But there's multiple things wrong here. And look, I said it with Braun Strowman. I said it with Samoa Joe. I said it with all these people. You can't find a way to make money with these people. What are you doing in the wrestling business? If you don't want to put on a pro wrestling show, then don't put on a pro wrestling show. You wonder why Raw is tanking in the ratings. You wonder why all this is happening. You wonder why you have people like AJ Styles, like Bobby Lashley, like MVP on that show. And you're doing sub 2 million numbers. You're sometimes doing sub 1.5 million numbers. It's because of bullshit decisions like this. It's because of bullshit creative. It's because you don't care and you can see it in the product. It comes across in the product. You got any new Bray Wyatt name ideas? Look, I like his actual name. I'm not even going to lie to you. I like his actual Wyndham Rotunda. I like that actual name. His real life name, I think he could work under that. And it will work. There's other avenues to go to, I would assume, but I like Wyndham Rotunda. Not going to lie. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, and Bray Wyatt is a creative mind. He will be better off for this. I want to make that abundantly clear. He will be much better off. 2021 has been a wild year in as far as WWE and as far as wrestling goes. And it's just crazy. It's just, I can't. I just don't know. WWE does this weird thing with me where it's like every time, like I grew up a huge fan of wrestling, and that's primarily due to WWE. But how am I supposed to like this product? How am I genuinely supposed to like their product and like what they do when every time they give me something I like and something that I think is good, they drop the ball? Every single time. How long does it take, right? How long does it take until you're just sick of it and you don't watch the product anymore? We have one more reaction here. Actually, this is from Mickey James. Mickey James tweeted a thread, actually, that I want to read out because I think it's interesting right here. Mickey James, also released earlier this year from the company, talked about Bray Wyatt being released on Twitter, said, "I think what you mean was, thank you so much for coming up with such an incredible gimmick time and time again. One so cool and over that we really didn't know how to book it right." Again, this is Mickey James. "So we just gave it to someone else so we can make all the money off of it and let you go." Boom. Fire. Absolute super hot fire. Mickey James blasting WWE in that statement right here. And again, she echoes sentiments that I even had as well. This isn't against Alexa Bliss. I love her. She's an incredible performer who is killing it in the role she was given. She always does. We as artists take every role we're given and turn it into gold. They both did that. Like it or not, facts are facts. Sorry if it offends you. I mean, look, she's right. She's right. Alexa Bliss is doing her best and doing a pretty good job in that role that she's given, right? But she never should have been in that position because this was Bray Wyatt's gimmick. This was his role. He came up with this for himself, and it worked for him. Doesn't make sense that they just gave it to someone else. Doesn't make sense that they just pawned it off so they could make more money off of it and then release this guy who's actually came up with the ideas. Aaron Rodgers, Packers quarterback, talks about how there's a disconnect with the organization, the corporation that is the organization of the Green Bay Packers, and the fans and the teammates and the players. It's the same way with WWE. There's a disconnect between the corporate structure of WWE and the fans. And it shows here. It's been showing for a long time. And fans are sick of it, and they're pissed. They're pissed. Any other questions in the chat? Because I am obviously not happy about this. Wrestle Talk should start at 1 a.m. and you should watch start to finish. Yeah. We should snatch him up. Real Take Wrestling. Yeah, why not? Snatch him up in Real Take Wrestling. Snatch him up with Real Take Wrestling. Guys, book him. Book him. Just don't book him to oblivion. That will get you fired. See, here's the thing. In WWE, when something is booked into oblivion, even though it's there and the creative is there. Sorry, the creative mind in the talent is there, and it doesn't work. They fire the talent, even though they were the ones who stifled him. They don't take a look at the creative or the writing or themselves. It's always someone else's fault. She's spitting facts. Yes, I'm assuming you're talking about Mickie James. Yes, she was spitting facts. The Wyatt family's officially dead. I mean, the Wyatt family's not been around since like 2018, man. Like they've been gone for a while. Like they've been disbanded for a long time. Could there be a reunion on the Indies maybe one day? Who knows? Or in AEW? Who knows? Someone said she should delete that thread. She shouldn't. She shouldn't. That's straight facts. No one. She should never delete that thread. That is literally what I think almost every wrestling fan right now is thinking about this whole situation. That is literally even down to the Alexa Bliss thing, even down to saying that it's not Alexa's fault. It's not hating on Alexa Bliss by saying that WWE gave her Bray Wyatt's gimmick. That's just the truth. So I don't know why anyone would want that deleted. Let me see anything else here on the Bray Wyatt news. Yeah, Bray Wyatt left after the chat. Someone said that. No, that was pretty accurate right there. Here we go. I'm sorry, just looking for some stuff here potentially that might give more insight, more information. Dave Meltzer has not said anything else other than that. Again, Bray Wyatt gone. Complete bullshit. Not gonna sugarcoat that one. Please leave any questions in the chat. I will still answer them until don't have any more time. Actually, I mean, time is not sensitive really, but I don't want to be on here just reiterating the same thing a few times. Here's another tweet from Sean Ross Sapp that I do think also captures a little bit of what people think about this whole situation. Sean Ross Sapp tweeted this out. He says, I remember a whole lot of let it play out and this won't ruin Bray tweets from fans after Hell in a Cell 2019 and the Goldberg loss. Meanwhile, wrestlers were messaging me confused or upset. One even held off making their creative pitches after seeing how Bray went. And look, this is Sean Ross Sapp. This is not any random Joe talking about this. This is Sean Ross Sapp. This is Sean Ross Sapp, one of the most renowned wrestling journalists, true wrestling journalists there is, saying that because of how badly WWE booked Bray Wyatt, wrestlers were even thought about holding off on their creative pitches. That is stifling their creativity. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Disgusting, that fucking company, man. That fucking disgusting. Truly, I'm disgusted by that company. Let's see. Big Ticket says, crazy that both people who main evented SummerSlam last year have been Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman gone from the company. Main evented at SummerSlam last year. Both gone. Released from the company. Both former world champions. Bray Wyatt, I believe, he was a 2-time Universal Champion, 1-time WWE Champion, and Braun Strowman also had that Universal title reign. Hello, Isabel Cruz. How are you doing? Again, those of you just joining us, Bray Wyatt released from WWE, released from his contract, done. After, I'm assuming he has that 90-day no-compete. It is ludicrous. Ludicrous that it got to this point. That's honestly what I can say. Again, questions in the chat. I will continue asking them or answering them until I believe this is kind of played out. Because again, I don't want to keep reiterating much of the same points. I believe that a lot of it is also self-explanatory at this point. If you want to find out what my real thoughts were, you can go back to the beginning of this live stream or a little further back to kind of hear, because I really talked in depth about a lot of that. Yeah, and look, AEW, they signed Bryan, they signed Punk. Getting Bray, especially since you have Rampage coming up. You got some big shows. Next year, they got those 4 big special shows they want to promote on TNT, like that are separate from Dynamite and Rampage. So they've got a lot of product coming up. They've got a lot of things to promote, a lot of time on TV to fill. Bray Wyatt would help that. You would think. Bray Wyatt or Wyndham Rotunda would help that. Let's see here. More from the chat. The main event was Bianca thing, right? No. Last year, the main event was Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman for the Universal title at SummerSlam 2020. Cena and Roman better not be released this time next year. God knows. God knows what they're going to do. They're not going to release Roman. That I'm very confident they're not going to release Roman. But who knows at this point? Who really knows? Bray Wyatt was released. Bray Wyatt was released. Oh my God. So Big Ticket says they have to be selling in the next 6 months with all these releases. We've been saying this for the past 6 months, and look, I still stand by it that looks like what's gonna happen. It genuinely looks like what's gonna happen. I think down the line, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be now. Could be a year from now. Could be whenever, but. You don't make all of these profit-making, quote-unquote, losses, like cuts, if you're not going to release player, or if you're not going to sell the company, or sell part of the company, or sell a lot of assets. One other thing I want to also mention before I forget is when these budget cuts come around, guys, remember it's not just talent. It is not just talent that is affected by the budget cuts. It's also the people at headquarters. It's the people at WWE corporate. And it's not just like CEOs. These are people who work salary jobs, like not making too much money, who have families. Like, no, and this is not, I'm not trying to minimize anyone's pain, but like Bray Wyatt, I'm going to be real. He's going to be fine. He's made a lot of money in his career. He's going to have opportunities after this. There are people who have not been making a lot of money who, when these budget cuts come around, lose their jobs and they're unemployed. They don't have, it's tough. So, I mean, that's another thing about this that makes this so especially cruel. Omar, what's your thoughts on SmackDown? My thoughts on SmackDown, loved the Boss returning. I loved the Boss returning. I loved the kind of angle they shot where she kind of tagged with Bianca Belair. Maybe they were turning her face, and then boom, she does the Boss thing, backstabber, and I'm excited because this is setting, as you would think, setting up the match between the Boss, Sasha Banks, the big rematch from the main event of WrestleMania 37, the Boss, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's World Title. I think that's a money match. I'm excited to see the rematch, and I'm excited to see the result because I think there's a chance that Bianca loses her belt. I got the thing. There's a good chance she loses her belt there. But yeah, I thought other than that, the Balor thing kind of pissed me off. I will not lie to you. The Balor thing pissed me off. Like, I knew they were gonna do the match was gonna be Cena versus Roman at SummerSlam anyway. Don't know why they had to make it weird. Sasha kept making. Sasha kept saying, "I made you." It was funny. Yeah, she did make. Hey, look. She's got a bit of a point. She's got a bit of a point here. Look, no, I'm not kidding. I'm saying this as a Boss fan. Sasha Banks, she's got a point, man. Sasha Banks can make anyone, but Bianca Belair is also a damn good talent. So, yeah. Don't take anything I say too seriously, everyone. But no, also do. Let's see. Anything else? No, doesn't look like there's any word on any more releases or anything else, people. With that, I think I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon. Again, last few questions I'll answer. It is true though. It is. Yeah, I mean, look, Sasha Banks she is one of the best workers in the company. One of the best workers in the company. Eddie B in the chat says, "What are your thoughts on holding off on the Hangman title match for All Out?" So I have like a whole thing about this, right? I'm not gonna get into too much detail about it. I will get into great detail about it on Real Take Wrestle Talk on Tuesday night right here on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. But I will say this: I do think that the Hangman title change could happen. It's probably not going to happen at this point because they have Punk coming in. They don't want Punk to get overshadow Hangman's title change. But I think both of those things can exist at the same time. I'm not one of those people who thinks that, you can only have one or the other. You put together the best, biggest card you can. And it can be fine because the Chicago fans are going to love CM Punk. They're also going to love the Hangman Adam Page. These AEW fans are also going to love Adam Page. So I don't see it being too much of a problem. It's the direction that seems to be, though, unfortunately, the direction AEW is going. They see it as a problem. They want to hold off on the Hangman title change. I don't agree because I also think that the Hangman thing it's been playing out. It's been one of the best built stories, and you could do it. There's ways you could get around the whole Punk thing. Even if you have Punk. Kind of like start the show. If you have Punk and Darby, which seems to be the match for all out, Punk and Darby open the show. People get their CM Punk stuff out early. You start the show on such a high note, and then you end the night on another high note with Hangman Adam Page winning the title. I mean, I feel like, don't get me wrong. Maybe I'm simplifying it. I think the fans would love it. I think it would work. Because people also just love Hangman Adam Page. He's not going to get overshadowed by CM Punk. He's not. If CM Punk was going to debut on All Out, that might be a different story. That would be a totally different story. But he's not. He's debuting on Rampage, or we would assume he's debuting on Rampage. So yeah, I think it could work. I genuinely think it could work. I think AEW honestly at this point is making the wrong decision by not having that match because it's just been built up and you don't want to wait too long. That's all I'll say here. I'll go into much, much more detail on this on Real Take Wrestle Talk this Tuesday night right here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, again, if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter at Real Take Sports. Hit that like button, too. Help out the algorithm so other people see this afterwards and can listen to my complaining. Big Ticket says, any thoughts on WWE's involvement of the Domino's Gate? So I also have a bit on this for Real Take Wrestle Talk. I will say this, though. WWE is a scummy company. A very scummy company, in my opinion. That's what I will say. If you guys don't know, they apparently tried to They apparently tried to get a reporter to write an article about the whole about the whole how extreme that Nick Gage match was and how sponsors are pulling out of AEW, which was untrue. It was proven to be untrue, but I'll go into more detail about it on Tuesday. This has turned into a mini Real Take Wrestle Talk. Hello. Yeah, it has. It has turned into a mini Real Take Wrestle Talk, but I feel like it was necessary, man. News this big deserves such a honorable platform such as mine, right? Bray Wyatt deserved this. Well, no. Let me be clear. Did not deserve to be released. Absolutely did not deserve to be released, but he is deserving of me doing a special live stream, hour-long live stream now of him, of this big news about him. He is worthy of that. Let me make that clear. Should not have been released. But yeah, I mean, look, Again, I feel like I've talked through this too. Let me see if there's any other reactions from the wrestling world. Because don't want to miss any of those. Man, it's crazy though. It isn't it, guy, isn't it crazy? Bray Wyatt a year ago was fighting for the Universal title. He won the Universal title. He was the guy. He was coming off that Firefly Funhouse match, which almost everybody liked. And now he's gone. This freaking company, guys. This freaking company doesn't understand anything. On that note, I think I'm pretty much done here. That Chris Jericho match was pretty interesting. Hey, we'll talk about it. Trevor, my co-host Trevor, loves Nick Gage, so he'll have a whole bit on that. We'll talk about this apparently too, and whatever news also comes after this. If you haven't already, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We got daily videos coming out about sports, other stuff. Might do a Real Take Sports Talk this weekend. We'll update you on that as well. But in the meantime, check out the channel. If some other news comes about, I will release a video this weekend about it. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. In the meantime, take it easy, stay happy, stay healthy, enjoy your weekend.